Governor Greg Abbott is sending more Texas troops to the southern border.
How many are headed to support the personnel that's already there?
And we're sitting down today with the Austin Mayor Pro Tem, Vanessa Fuentes, to hear what she has to say about issues facing the city and her district.
Plenty of clouds across Central Texas right now, but when will the rain arrive? More details coming up in your First Warning Weather.
In-depth, investigative. This is KXAN News at Noon.
Texas is sending even more resources to the southern border with Mexico. Today, Governor Greg Abbott directed the Texas Military Department to deploy what is known as the Texas Tactical Board Force to the Rio Grande Valley. The governor says these 400 additional soldiers will collaborate with U.S. Border Patrol and help with the Trump administration's operations on the southern border.
The 400 additional soldiers were scheduled to depart this morning from military bases in Fort Worth and Houston. This as Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE, agents began conducting enhanced targeted operations in Austin. These operations really spanned across Texas and even other parts across the nation this weekend. These photos, though, we're showing you are from the ICE San Antonio field office, which oversees Austin. The agency said other federal agencies were partnering with it yesterday in these operations. That includes the Drug Enforcement Administration, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, and others. President Trump says the goal is to target criminals in the country illegally.
We began to leverage the full and immense power of federal government and state government and enforcement to eliminate the presence of all foreign gangs and criminal networks bringing devastating crime to American soil. And we don't allow people to enter our country and to dump their prisons into the United States of America anymore.
Now we're starting to hear reaction from state and local leaders. Many people, of course, have their eyes on City Hall here in Austin as the council has its first meeting of the year on Thursday.
Joining us this afternoon to discuss more about this is Mayor Pro Tem Vanessa Fuentes. She represents District 2 covering Southeast Austin. Mayor Pro Tem, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
We appreciate it very much. So, there is a lot that will be on Thursday's agenda to cover, but we want to start with some of that breaking news we were talking about there and what happened over this weekend. So, in the past, we have seen you and many of the other council members support directing the Austin Police to deprioritize certain enforcement on state laws, like the state's abortion restrictions and transgender health care. How do you think Austin will respond if police are pulled into this enforcement effort that the Trump administration would like to do?
It's a great question. And first and foremost, just over this weekend, we've received a lot of feedback from our community. We have a lot of members that are scared right now with the extent of ICE being and operating in the Austin area and to what extent that impact will have on our immigrant community. And I'm really proud that our police chief came out with her statement on Friday that confirmed that Austin police have not and will not enforce any federal civil immigration. That is an important thing for Austinites to know, that our local police officers are going to be doing what they do best, which is focus on solving crime versus doing these type of ICE raids or roundups. So what is important for me as a local policymaker is to ensure that the city is doing what we can to inform our community of their rights. So we're really ramping up the Know Your Rights trainings and workshops in collaboration with community partners.
Can we expect this to be a discussion at council, or could we expect any specific action taken this week on this topic?
Tomorrow, our city council will be having a conversation with city legal and to better understand the impacts of Trump's executive order. And of course, this is going to be top of mind for local policymakers for the rest of the year. I mean, Trump has been very clear that he intends to continue these type of ICE raids and activity. And so we want to ensure that we're doing what we can to prepare our community.
And we'll, of course, follow whatever discussions will come out from tomorrow's meeting. But I want to get to something that you all will discuss on Thursday at the first council meeting of our new year. So you all are putting forward a resolution targeting homelessness. What does that do, and what do you hope to accomplish with that?
That's right. One of the top issues that I hear from our community is what are we doing to address homelessness? And that is a significant challenge that we have as a city. So I'm really proud that one of the first items that we'll take up on Thursday at our first council meeting is prioritizing investments in homelessness. And that includes having additional funding for shelter, for housing, and prevention. A robust response is needed for us to address the crisis that we see in our city.
And can you talk a little more about what you expect the response to be? Have you been in conversation conversation with other colleagues on the dais about their support of this measure?
Absolutely. I mean, this item passed unanimously from the Public Health Committee. And so I know that we had several of my colleagues out last night doing the point-in-time count with ECHO to ensure that we are counting the individuals who are living unhoused. But that count is so much more than just a count. It really is a way for policymakers and for our community partners to understand the scale of the crisis. And so we want to continue to bring people indoors and to ensure that we're providing those supportive services.
I want to turn now. We know the Austin airport is encompassed in your district. There was a lot of conversation last year, of course, as the airport goes through a major expansion. They're also implementing several changes to operations and safety, something called the SMS, or Safety Management System, that we have covered closely. Our investigative team just a couple of months ago published an investigation focusing on safety concerns that are still lingering in spite of all these changes. So what can you tell us as we head into the new year about how the city is working to ensure that the airport is safe for both passengers but also workers?
That's right. I mean, we all want to ensure that every Austinite, every passenger that goes through our airport has a smooth, reliable, and safe travel experience. I was just in Washington, D.C. last week where I testified in front of Congress, and I also made a plug for additional staffing at our airport. We have to ensure that we have appropriate staffing levels, both at the air traffic control tower and with TSA, so that our Austinites aren't waiting in long lines. Safety is top of mind as we undergo this massive airport expansion program, and so those conversations will continue.
Before we let you go, one final thing in these last few moments that we have with you. Any other major items of interest that you'll be bringing to council this year?
Yes, there's a lot more to be discussed. Top of mind is mental health response, really looking at what is the appropriate way for us to be responding to when there are urgencies around mental health crises. And so that's another key item that we'll be discussing on Thursday.
All right, much more to track.
Yes, so much to watch. Thank you so much, Vanessa Fuentes, for joining us today.
Thank you.
Now, first warning weather with meteorologist Freddie Fela.
Temperatures still in the 40s in many spots. 46 in Fredericksburg, 44 in Mason, 48 in Llano, 45 as you reach out towards Lampasas, Austin at 49, and the same out towards San Marcos. They could be the first ones to move into the 50s or later on this afternoon, probably within the next 30 minutes actually. Clouds and radar at this point, continuing to see nothing but clouds overall. There's not even a hint of sunshine no matter where you look. This is out of our Covington Cellars camera in High, Texas, where temperatures there are still sitting at around 46 degrees this afternoon. As we look ahead, our biggest concern is going to be Wednesday going into Thursday. We do have the possibility of seeing some severe weather. In fact, we are in that possible range, that yellow range. We zoom out a bit more and you'll notice it essentially runs from about San Antonio all the way up to just south of Dallas, where we could see the possibility of some severe weather moving through, thunderstorms and the like. So we'll have more information not only on your rain chances over the next few days, but the risks that we're going to be going through over the next couple of days as well, all the way through Wednesday and into Thursday. And then the warm temperatures ahead. I have all of that and more coming up in your first warning weather.
Freddie, thanks so much. As mass deportation efforts take shape, 260 recipients of Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, otherwise known as DACA, crossed back into Mexico to try and fix their legal status. These are people brought to the U.S. illegally as children. Each received special permission from U.S. immigration authorities to leave and legally re-enter the country. Still, it is a risk because getting back into the U.S. is not guaranteed. However, it could help clear the way for them to petition for permanent status.
It finally takes away this legal technicality that has been keeping them in this limited status and in a fear of being separated from their family.
While anyone with DACA can apply for this, some worry that that ability could go away under the new Trump administration. The DACA program itself is in limbo due to legal challenges from Republican-led states, including here in Texas. President Trump tried to end DACA in his first term, though he recently said he would like to find a solution.
After ICE operations began this weekend, protesters gathered at the state capitol. Some urged local immigrants to get in touch with lawyers now. Many people in the crowd expressed an increase in anxiety. We've mentioned this today, saying they're worried about loved ones being targeted. You can read more of the reaction from protesters and leadership across the state as reaction comes out and continues to. We'll be following that at KXAN.com.
Good Monday afternoon to all of you out there watching here this afternoon. We are joining us here on KXAN News at Noon. The time is 12:13. We have a live look from Bastrop there where traffic is moving along smoothly. The wind is blowing as well, as you can see from the flags there. We'll get an update about what's in store not only for the rest of today, but through the work week and into the weekend with meteorologist Freddie Vela and Rich Siegel here in just a few moments. A group of scientists from San Diego just happened to be off the coast of Los Angeles when the wildfires started there. And what they found could affect the area months or even years from now. Meteorologist Greg Bledsoe provides a closer look at how those fires could eventually affect the food we eat.
When the fires tore through Los Angeles, destroying thousands of homes and businesses, they also sent towering plumes of ash and smoke out over the ocean that could be seen from space.
Plumes of smoke, and it was so thick, even 70, 100 miles offshore.
You can see the ash, though.
As chance would have it, a group of scientists from San Diego happened to be off the coast of LA collecting water samples.
Dark gray confetti all over the water, which was the ash. That's how they described it. We realized this was an opportunity to find out what was happening.
With the deck covered in soot, scientists immediately changed course and started collecting that ashy ocean water, because even the tiniest debris in that water could tell us a lot.
What are the impacts of this, of the fire, the smoke, in the marine ecosystem?
NOAA's Dr. Noel Boland heads up what's called the Cal Coffee Project, which started 75 years ago.
Our team goes out and collects plankton samples, and they get preserved in jars like this.
More than 1 million of those samples have now been preserved.
Well, this is a good one.
In this room.
January 1963.
Like tiny time capsules.
Thousands of little larvae, and you know, they all have a story to tell.
And as the ocean and what's in it changes, even just a little, so can those samples.
If something doesn't look right in how it's formed, you'll see it. You'll be able to see that.
This is not the first time scientists have studied wildfire ash falling into the ocean, but these are not typical wildfires.
So many of those fires that we've seen before are, vegetation fires. These are urban fires. So these are houses, neighborhoods, people's homes, they are businesses.
Which means when memories and livelihoods went up in flames, so did all kinds of toxic materials, something now being referred to as urban ash.
The ash, honestly, is going to contain a lot of toxins. We expect to see things like asbestos and other polycarbonates that we wouldn't normally see in a vegetation fire. Right now, off of California, this is peak anchovy spawning time. In the ash samples, we have pictures from our crew at sea of samples that are thick with anchovy eggs and a bunch of ash and fire debris in that same sample. Why should people care about whether anchovies are healthy or not, or the ecosystem is healthy or not? Well, because the base of the food system is so important for humans. Anchovies feed birds, mammals, other big fishes that we all love to eat.
Think of it like a trickle-up effect that could take weeks or years to notice.
Are you concerned?
Yeah, I am. I'm concerned because we do expect to see some change. Will it be huge? I don't know that answer. So yes, I am concerned, and I'm concerned for the community.
Meteorologist Greg Bledsoe sharing that story.
Turning back here at home, we're finally getting some of that much needed rain after being dry. I think Tommy calls it chapstick weather that we were seeing all month, which always makes me laugh.
That seems about right. As we look at the big picture, we'll be able to see exactly what to expect. Overall current temperatures right now, 46 in Fredericksburg, 44 in Mason, 49 as you reach out towards Austin, San Marcos at around 49 degrees, and Georgetown actually broke the 50-degree mark before Austin did itself. They're at 50 at this point too. So satellite and radar showing nothing but cloud coverage. We knew that. We zoom out a bit more. You see, we're not the only ones. Essentially from Dallas down towards the south, all cloudy conditions. All of this is Pacific moisture that's flowing in. We get enough of that cloud coverage coming in. Only the panhandle is kind of left out of this right now. Pollen count keeping into the low category for mold and cedar on that downward trend overall. Now, after school, temperatures will be at around 55 degrees for drop-off. By the time we get to the early evening hours, temperatures should be about 51, but the cloudy conditions will remain, not only for now, but for the rest of the day today. It's not until we get to about 2 a.m., 3 a.m. that you could see a bit more of that isolated showers starting to pick up, especially for those in the eastern counties and the metro. And we play it out a bit more to early in the morning. We get to about 10 a.m. We still see isolated showers here and there. It's not until we get to Wednesday that we start to see the real rain chances picking up overall. Temperatures tonight, 47 degrees. Winds coming in from the north, light. But here's a look at your rain chances. There it is. Wednesday into Thursday, you continue to see the rain chances really moving into that 80 to 100% chance outlook. So this is our GFS model. We'll play it out just a bit more so you can see what's going to be happening as we get to about 6 a.m. on Wednesday. There's your rain chances picking up. And as we get to about 10 p.m., heavier showers, thunderstorms all starting to move through until we get to about 12 o'clock on Thursday, where you could see the possibility of some severe weather. That moves out, and we're just left with sunny skies for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Here's a look at your 7-day forecast. 55 for Monday, 58 for Tuesday. By Wednesday, around 68 degrees. And there's your rain chances. The strongest will be overnight from Wednesday into Thursday. 90% chances we get into Thursday. 71 is a high. And not until we get to about Friday, Saturday, and Sunday do we actually see sunnier conditions starting to come back. I put Groundhog Day on Sunday, but Rich, there's something else you want to talk about. Who is this BK Bob guy?
We were talking about Punxsutawney Phil not seeing his shadow because of potential rain in Punxsutawney, PA on Sunday, and then we mentioned BK Bob, and we went into the break, and I heard someone say, I've never heard of BK Bob. Well, BK Bob is a famous local armadillo. His handler's name is Ralph Fisher. The location where BK Bob comes to see his shadow or not is called the West Pole. It's a ranch. It's not like the North Pole or the South Pole. It's a ranch in Bee Cave, and lore has it that if BK Bob comes out and enjoys the sunshine, that means we will have an early spring. Now, I know this is not an armadillo. That's still looking like a groundhog, but somebody may make me an armadillo graphic like this, but nevertheless, BK Bob will have sunny weather and mild temperatures for that time of the morning on Sunday, which means we are forecasting an early spring. And now you know what you need to know.
Today, the world is commemorating the 80th anniversary of the liberation of Auschwitz, a Nazi extermination camp in occupied Poland. At least 1 million people, mostly Jewish people, were murdered there as the camp became a symbol of the Holocaust. NBC's Jay Gray has more.
Well, it is, as you would expect, a somber, a very solemn day here at Auschwitz. 50 survivors back, remembering 80 years ago the liberation of this death camp, and here to share their stories with the world to make sure that this type of bigotry and hatred, they say, never happens again. They are joined by world leaders, dignitaries from 50 or more countries gathering here, including King Charles. But during the ceremony today, you don't see any of the politicians or the leaders stepping to the podium to speak. On this day, that is a privilege that is only given to survivors to share those stories, and their voices are fading. There are not nearly as many survivors as we've seen in the past, and they are driven to be here to tell those stories, to give those firsthand accounts of the horrors inside this camp, but also to make sure that future generations can learn from what they experienced and what they are sharing. But they'll also be very quick to tell you that they come here as well to honor the memories of those who didn't have the chance they had to walk out of these camps, didn't have the chance at a full life as they have had. They say that it's important to remember those who died inside these death camps. Here in Auschwitz, over 1,200,000 or more of those children who were murdered inside this camp. So that is what drives so many to come back on the 80th anniversary of the liberation of Auschwitz. That's the latest from here at Auschwitz. I'm Jay Gray. Now back to you.
In-depth, investigative. This is KXAN News at Noon.
Today, Texas is sending even more resources to the border with Mexico. Governor Greg Abbott directed the Texas Military Department to deploy what's known as the Texas Tactical Board Force to the Rio Grande Valley.
Abbott says these 400 additional soldiers are going to help with the Trump administration's operations on the southern border. These soldiers are departing this morning from military bases in Fort Worth and Houston. Additionally, the state will send aircraft like C-130s and Chinook helicopters to join the thousands of Texas National Guard soldiers already on the border. They will all collaborate with U.S. Border Patrol agents.
The governor released a statement today saying in part, quote, Texas has a partner in the White House we can work with to secure the Texas-Mexico border. He goes on to say this, quote, finally, we have a federal government working to end this crisis. I thank President Donald Trump for his decisive leadership on the southern border and look forward to working with him and his administration to secure the border and make America safe again.
Going in depth, Texas launched this force in 2023. Under Operation Lone Star, Texas deployed thousands of National Guard soldiers and DPS troopers to the border. According to the governor's office, they have apprehended more than 530,000 illegal migrants. They've arrested more than 50,000 people they label as criminals and seized more than 622 million lethal doses of fentanyl. All this as Immigration and Customs Enforcement agents, or ICE, are conducting what are called enhanced targeted operations right here in Austin.
All of that began yesterday. Those targeted operations spanned across Texas and the nation. These photos from ICE came from their San Antonio field office, which oversees Austin. The agency said other federal agencies partnered with it yesterday, including the Drug Enforcement Administration and the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives.
In a statement, an ICE spokesperson told KXAN the agency conducted these operations to, quote, enforce U.S. immigration law and preserve public safety and national security by keeping potentially dangerous criminal aliens out of our communities, end quote. KXAN also spoke to a source at the Drug Enforcement Agency. That person said the DEA is providing extra personnel to ICE in the Austin area. Governor Abbott says the Texas Department of Public Safety was also assisting with these operations, and he added they are expected to expand in the coming days.
After ICE operations began this weekend, protesters gathered at the Texas Capitol. Some there urged local immigrants to get in touch with lawyers now. Many in the crowd expressed an increase in anxiety, saying they are worried about loved ones being targeted.
I mean, my husband's Mexican, and I fear that now he'll be targeted while he's out on a play date with our daughter. Does he need to carry his birth certificate around?
We're also starting to hear from local leaders as well as those from across Texas. Some say they are ready to help the president's deportation efforts without specifying what that means exactly. You can read more on the reactions from leadership across the state on our website at KXAN.com.
First warning weather.
Now let's take a live look over downtown Austin from the top of our Austonian camera, where it is quite a gray day out there.
And Freddie, we are tracking those temperatures today. They're warming up just a little bit. I had to still put on the jacket this morning coming into work, but tell us about what we're seeing across January now.
Across the rest of the month, it looks like we'll have some red days ahead, unfortunately. Average temperatures around this time of year are around 63. So for us to now look at 70s, unfortunately, that means we'll have to put down the jackets, especially as we get out towards the end of the month itself. Rainfall totals also not very impressive. We had a pretty impressive day back on January 9th, but everything else has been less than 1/10 of an inch of rain out there. So we'll continue to monitor that. Here's a look at River City Grill Highland Furniture camera in Marble Falls. Clouds are all over the place, and they're not going anywhere. They're expected to remain. Temperatures right now still at about 49 in Austin, 49 in San Marcos, 46 in Fredericksburg, 50 degrees as you reach Georgetown. They're the first ones to reach 50, and Bastrop currently sitting at about 48. So as we look into Wednesday and Thursday, the chance of severe weather now in an increase. We're in a slight risk for the hill country from Burnett and Lampasas out towards the west, with everyone else within the marginal category, which is that category 1, meaning it's still possible, but the best chances are going to be out towards the west. We zoom out a bit more for the rest of the state. Everything you see in this lighter green, that's general thunderstorm category. So a lot going on within the state of Texas over the next few days, including plenty of rain chances, that chance of severe weather, and then the warm temperatures that we're expected to end the month of January and begin the month of February. We'll have all that and so much more in your First Warning weather.
Thanks, Freddie. A contentious vote in the Texas House of Representatives could change which bills move forward through the Texas legislature.
The Texas House of Representatives approved banning House Democrats from serving as chairs of any committees. In an ironic turn of events, a majority of House Democrats agreed to those rules, while a group of Republicans voted against them. The rules now state all committee chairs will go to the Republicans, and all vice chairs, essentially second in command of those committees, are reserved for the Democrats.
It has hurt Democrats and reduced our power, but at least gives us some ability to interact in the process.
Some Republicans say this gives Democrats more power. They sought to offer amendments to the rules, but did not get a chance to do that before they all passed. The House will now move on to the committee assignment phase. All the members will submit their preferences about which committees they'd like to serve. Then the Speaker will make the decisions and those assignments in the coming weeks.
The Senate has filed its bill to pay for private school tuition with tax dollars. Under the bill, Texas families could receive up to $10,000 a year per child. The bill says every student in the state is eligible for the program. However, there is priority for low-income students and those with a disability. Supporters say it gives parents the freedom to choose their child's education path. Opponents say the bill will only help wealthier families in the state subsidize their tuition payments. Texas Politics Project Director James Henson weighed in on where public opinion stands.
If you offer Texans these kinds of programs, you're going to find a reasonable amount of support. But if you ask Texans how important it should be or where it should be in the list of priorities, it ranks pretty far down the list.
The Texas Senate successfully passed a version of an education savings account, or ESA, program in the past, but it failed over in the House. Governor Abbott says he is confident there are enough votes in the House to get it passed this year.
In a move that some are suggesting violates federal oversight laws, the new presidential administration fired at least a dozen independent inspectors general. The Associated Press reports that 2 people familiar with the move said it began Friday night. While neither confirmed the exact number, one email from a fired inspector said, quote, roughly 17 inspectors general had been removed. Inspectors general are meant to investigate claims about mismanagement, fraud, or abuses of power reported inside a federal agency. These dismissals may be against the law, as Congress requires that the White House give them a 30-day notice and substantive reasons as to why an inspector general is being removed. NBC News says a senior White House official told them that the move was to let go parts of the Biden administration that don't, quote, align with Trump's administration. It is once again that time of the year. Beginning today, the Internal Revenue Service will accept tax returns. The IRS is expecting more than 140 million people to file individual tax returns by Tuesday, April 15th, which of course is the deadline to submit. Late submissions are usually prone to penalties and interest. However, this year, relief provisions are being provided for those affected by natural disasters. Going in depth, there are some noteworthy changes coming to tax returns this year. One of the biggest is a form called the 1099-K. That's for taxpayers who receive $5,000 or more through an app like Venmo, Zelle, Google Wallet, and other services. The IRS says all incomes received through those sites is taxable regardless of whether it hits that $5,000 threshold. Taxpayers need to report that income even if they do not receive one of these forms.
This weekend, volunteers spent hours in the early morning cold counting the homeless community members here in Austin and across Travis County. This was called the point-in-time count. Groups were looking at what resources these people may need and where the government can best use resources. The Ending Community Homelessness Coalition, or ECHO, does this point-in-time count every 2 years. The federal government does require it, but it's also a way for people to learn more about our unhoused community and what challenges these people are facing.
I come out here because it's an interesting outreach effort. It's a good way to get community volunteers aware of the issue.
The numbers for this year's point-in-time count will not come out for several months, usually actually almost a year after the count occurs. The 2023 count identified more than 2,300 people as homeless. Around 1,300 of those people were living outside or in cars. Around 1,100 were in shelters or transitional housing. Rich Siegel tells me he's going to give me this live look. If you want to jump in over there, Rich, he tells me we're looking out at Marble Falls, where it is cloudy and gray. Maybe not a day to be out on the water. We'll have your full forecast coming up in just a couple of minutes. First, the future of driving is making its debut in Las Vegas.
Yeah, Rich DeMuro takes us to the Consumer Electronics Show, where he is showing us the cutting-edge self-driving technology pushing the boundaries out on the road.
At CES, the future of transportation is on display.
This is the vehicle we came up with, something totally new.
Honda revealing its O series of futuristic-looking EVs, slated for production in 2025. They'll have level 3 hands-off driving.
This wasn't about comparing with other vehicles. This was about us providing unique value that's not out there.
Waymo cars have already driven 33 million miles fully autonomously. Their latest EV is a Zeekr from Chinese automaker Geely.
Our 6th generation Waymo driver is designed for significantly reduced costs with significantly more capabilities that will help us tackle more adverse weather conditions, so think snow and colder climates.
AI cameras have tiny windshield wipers for better visibility. BMW showing off their panoramic iDrive system with a large center screen, plus a secondary screen that spans the bottom of the windshield. The redesigned dash will make its way to new BMW models at the end of 2025. Sony and Honda revealing key new information about their joint project, the Afeela EV. It will go on sale in California for about $90,000. It's almost like a PlayStation on wheels. Battery and range, always a concern with EVs, but software like QNovo making the process more efficient by monitoring the ions inside.
Now with the technology, with the software, you can get the battery to last longer than one use, and you can even resell the battery, and with the software have an understanding of how much is left in the battery, so your residual value is well understood.
And everything old is new again at Scout, an upstart EV maker reviving a brand from decades ago.
We call these vehicles connection machines.
Scout has a rugged look, physical controls, bench seats, and even satellite Wi-Fi, plus an option for a gas extender that can take your range over 500 miles.
So there's a great mix of this classic heritage DNA that everybody knows from Scout, but also really great technology, innovation, and a perfect melding of those in the vehicle.
Some cool cars there for sure. And you were noting that one of those cars looked like it had Longhorn Orange.
Look at that, it's right over there.
Yeah.
Oh, you can't see it. Yeah, they can't see it at home.
Burnt orange seats, that's my style.
That's my gift. That's my gift to you.
It's a trade-off. Me and my Eagles green today.
I don't know, 90K though?
Yeah.
Little pricey.
On that one. Yeah.
I'll just take an orange blanket and throw it over my seats. That's my version of it.
That works too. You know, we have been watching some other stuff too, including cloud coverage. Let's go ahead and take a look at our satellite and radar at this point. Again, plenty of cloud coverage across Central Texas. A lot of moisture too. Let's zoom out just a bit more so you can see how much cloud coverage is actually moving in for the entire part of the state of Texas. The only ones left out are out towards the Panhandle, San Angelo, Austin, San Antonio, Corpus, Houston, Brownsville. No matter where you're at, you are seeing cloudy conditions. Current temperatures right now, seeing a few more 50s on the map, including Georgetown and Llano. Some close, like Austin at 49, and the same in San Marcos. Bastrop at 49, LaGrange at 48, Cameron at 49, and then a few still kind of far off. Mason at 45 degrees, Blanco at 45 degrees as well. The rest of the day today, we're still giving it about a 10% chance of maybe a shower or two, but we'll max out around the mid-50s, and if we do, they'll be so isolated. Those they'll be only here and there, maybe a little bit of drizzle, and that's pretty much it. And it's not until we get to the overnight hours where the rain chances start to pick up one more time from San Marcos to Lockhart to Bastrop. But even then, pretty much anyone could see a spotty shower or two overnight tonight leading into tomorrow. Better chances of rain are going to be on Wednesday itself. All right, let's go ahead and take a look now at your temperatures for tonight. 47 degrees with winds coming in from the north at light conditions. As we look over the next couple of days, this is our Euro model. This model saying we have a good chance of at least seeing something for tomorrow. It's not until we get to Wednesday that we actually have the best chance. Wednesday going into Thursday, where we could see some thunderstorms and possibly severe weather. And then we get out towards Friday and we're looking at mostly clear conditions overall. The amount of rainfall, that's still a little bit up in the air, but we're looking at about 1 inch to 2 inches from pretty much everyone. It's not until you get to the very edge of the eastern counties where you could see a bit more, 2 to 4 inches. But I think 1 to 2 inches is going to be a pretty good range for pretty much everyone overall. Here's a look at your 7-day forecast. Temperatures unfortunately heading back up, 68 degrees as we reach out towards Wednesday. Thursday, 71 degrees, and that's even with all the rainfall that we could receive on both those days. As we get out to Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, we're looking at sunnier skies, and then Sunday, Groundhog Day is here. All right, let's go and send it over to Rich with a look at national weather.
Warmer temperatures are still moving through the northern half of the plains, the upper Mississippi Valley, and into the Great Lakes. No single digits in teens today, 30s and even some 40s through parts of Nebraska and Iowa. 50s along the California coast, 30s in the Pacific Northwest. We've got just a little bit of precipitation on the map this day. We've got a little bit of snow through the southern part of Minnesota into upstate Wisconsin and the northwestern portion of the lower peninsula of Michigan. Just some scattered showers to the eastern Carolinas on into parts of Georgia and Florida, Alabama. And then out in the southwest, we're seeing a combination of rain with mountain snows. There's a disturbance there. It's that same disturbance, by the way, that is going to be moving through here, giving us the rain and the storms and the potential for severe weather by the middle of the week. But for now, it's over California and Arizona. Not too many travel delays for the afternoon. If you have a flight that leaves during the middle of the afternoon, there will be potential delays, and they're minor right now for Chicago, Detroit, and then later on this afternoon as we get past about 6 o'clock or so. Well, they've updated Logan. They were showing some minor delays there by 6 o'clock, but things are looking better there too. So a decent day to fly across the country with not a whole lot of bad weather happening.
San Marcos is officially a bird city. This designation comes from the Texas Parks and Wildlife Department and the Audubon Society of Texas. The Parks Department says that San Marcos received this designation because it met rigorous criteria. It focused on habitat protection, threats to birds, education and engagement, and sustainability. So it'll be interesting to see how this is implemented and maybe if there's certain species of birds that are really home to San Marcos. I'm interested to find out a little bit more about that story.
What does this mean? Yeah. It'll be cool to watch. Congrats on being crowned a bird city.
To the birds it goes.
Yeah.
I think you actually made a bird reference in there.
Oh, hey, that's all our producers saying for the birds. They're clever back there. They keep me honest too.
All right, let's go and take a look at your forecast for tonight. 47 degrees. Winds coming in from the north, light for tonight, but we are still going to see plenty of cloud coverage with the rain chances picking up tonight going into tomorrow. 58 degrees as we reach out towards Tuesday. By Wednesday, 68. By Thursday, 71 degrees. But the rain chances really start to ramp up as we get into Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We hit 76 degrees.
Yes.
And by the way, I do have to say, the groundhog, I have to make reference because I've been kind of bashing on the ground, Punxsutawney Phil, all day long. But look, we're forecasters. We went to school.
Yes.
What did Phil do?
There's science behind that. Yeah, right.
What did Phil do? Rich, can you answer this?
No.
He says, I'm staying out of it.
It's a Yankee thing.
And who was it from Bee Cave?
Bee Cave Bob.
Bee Cave Bob.
Yeah, very, very interesting. Well, we appreciate you all joining us this afternoon. We will see you back here in about half an hour with another update. Enjoy the rest of your Monday. Take care.